Hey, what's going on, people? This is Elder Tenchi, and I am finally back for another TMNT Rant Rave review. Now, I know this one is late. I'm going to be doing 2-in-1 for this video, but I'm going to try to, not stray off subject, because if some of you have watched my videos of lately, I thank you, but I tend to go off on subject on subjects sometimes and segue right back. So let's get right into it with the first episode from last week, entitled Parasitica. Now, it was a matter of time. It was a matter of time till the Turtles came up with a zombie episode. Okay, the team goes on a lead to find the Krang. The Krang are, they're wondering what the Krang are up to. They find one of the Krang's labs, and they find a giant mutated wasp. That mutated wasp is just, dangerous. They get into an altercation with the wasp, ends up stinging Leonardo, and they get him, and the wasp dies in the process. After they defeat the wasp, they find that the wasp had laid an egg sac, has an egg sac, and they bring it home. Now, Leonardo is he's very demanding in this episode. He's very dead set in bringing this home and seeing what's going on. Maybe studying it. Donatello is quick to want to dissect it, while Leonardo's like, no, we have to sit here and see what it does, right? And he won't know anybody. He won't let anybody near it. He won't let anybody touch it. He doesn't want to sit. I mean, all he wants to do is sit and just watch it. He doesn't want to eat. He doesn't want to drink. He doesn't want to watch his own favorite show. He doesn't want to read comic books. He doesn't want to train. Nothing. He just sits there like a zombie. It turns out that the wasp that they were fighting was a parasitic wasp. And what that wasp does is the venom that comes from its stinger is intended to basically mind control whatever it stings. That what it does is the venom gets to their brains and alters it to basically babysit their offspring until they hatch, and the offspring feast on whatever their mother stung. And it's kind of, and that's scary. And yes, it can be passed from person to person, or insect to insect, or in this case, mutant turtle and mutant turtle. And it gets really dark really quick, because they're trying to figure out a cure. Donatello's trying to figure out a cure. He gets bit, and the last person that can do anything is Michelangelo. You don't see April in this episode. You don't see Splinter. They're on a training mission, which we don't find out about, and what that's okay. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's very it doesn't bother me, because she is in the next episode. So, but I like this episode because it gives Mikey a chance to step up and and be the hero. Not to say that he hasn't stepped up in a few other episodes before, but in this particular incarnation, even though I love it to death, there's one thing I agree with a lot of fans on, and the fact that they kind of dumbed down Mikey to a very to an extent where he's always acting dumb. I mean, I know he's not exactly the smartest out of the group, but he was always with the wisecracks. He was always with the partying and stuff like that. But he was never, this dense, and that's the only thing that I think is weighing that particular character down. And he's my favorite turtle. But I'm glad he was able to step up, particularly with the science stuff this time around. He does get stung, but he keeps it together enough to remember what Donatello told him about mixing the antidote, and then be able to distribute it to his brothers. And they have to fight off these baby just hatched wasps, and it it's a dark episode. I mean, yes, they had to figure out a way to fit zombies in here, but you know what? The way they did it was pretty cool, and you get to learn about a Pacific parasitic wasp. So let's move on to the next episode entitled Operation Breakout. This one is centered around Donatello mostly. You see the turtles at a in the dojo training. Everybody's there, including April, because she's staying there now. And Donatello and Raphael are up to spar, right? Donatello has gotten a lot better in his skills. You can definitely tell, and he's starting to get the drop on Raph. Until he looks at April, looks at her eyes, gets those little goo-goo eyes, starts to get a little cocky because he wants to impress her, and it ends up being his downfall. After that, Raphael asks, "Do you really still think you have a shot with her?" And he's like, "I don't know, maybe." And Raphael gives him advice. He's like, "If you really want to impress her, if you really want to impress April, make sure I have nothing to do with it." Basically, he's saying, "I'm going to embarrass you. Just know that," right? So then, April gets an encrypted message, some sort of weird email from her computer, and Donatello recognizes, what kind of frequency it might be. You know what I'm saying? It might be a hidden message. It might be something important. So he deciphers it, and come to find out, it's from April's father. So, without telling his brothers, he decides to go on a solo mission to prove that he can do it. And you know what? This is the time where he really shines, because he's done everything from defusing alien bombs to re-engineering the Krang's technology to make stuff like Metalhead and and using their power source to power other things and stuff like that. He is the MacGyver of the Ninja Turtles. So this was the perfect opportunity for him to step up and do a solo mission. And you know what? He does a great job up until he rescues April's dad and accidentally opens up a bunch of cells because he's in a detention center, an underground detention center, and all these criminals and stuff are where all these criminals and stuff are locked up. And one cell that opens that actually has another, I have another person in there besides April's dad, is this thing that's come to be known as the neutralizer. And judging from what he does when he first gets out the cell, which is to have one of the Krang as a snack, I'm guessing he's not exactly a good guy. Plus the fact, that he was in a cell to begin with. That leads me to believe that he was not on the Krang's side. Obviously, he was an enemy, but he's on nobody's side. He looks like an assassin. He says nothing throughout the entire episode. He blasts his way through the detention center, intentionally wanting to kill the turtles. The Krang looks scared, but the rest of the turtles come in and they help him out. They rescue April's dad, but something's amiss because they don't really seem all that disappointed that their plan was foiled, especially at the end of the episode. So it leads me to believe that this was just a ploy to get on the inside. In this case, April's father. So he might be working with the Krang. He might not even be a real person. I'm guessing that he might be either a clone or maybe a Krang droid in disguise. What do you think? What do you think about last week's episode? What do you think about Mikey's role in last week's episode? Do you feel that both these episodes showed both Mike and Don shine like they should? And what do you expect for the next episode? Comment below, let me know, and I will see you on the next video. Peace, love, and never be normal.